Alright, so welcome to Gospel Jazz Chords. We're going to be studying about the different kind of jazz chords that you use in gospel music. Going to be a really fun course. So we're just going to be going over some basic and some really cool and advanced jazz techniques. This is stuff that you would learn in a jazz class, but we're actually going to take it and apply it to gospel and Pentecostal church style music. So gospel jazz chords is a very complicated subject, but what we're going to do is basically study the chords from a jazz perspective in this course, and then we're going to apply the concepts to gospel and church music. So number one chord we're going to learn, let's jump into this, sixth chords. The first of a chord we're going to study is this very overlooked basic sixth chord. In jazz theory, when you're playing a song, usually off of a chord chart, we'll go over what that means more later, but we have a basic rule if the chord is a major chord, and this rule is simply major chords can be replaced with sixth chords. That's it. In jazz, we often use our left hand to play the chord. While our right hand plays the melody or plays a solo or improvisational style, as you saw me do a second ago. The same is also true many times in gospel music, which has a strong jazz influence. And this usually works when you have a bass player, because obviously if you're playing chords in your left hand, you need somebody to hold down the bass. Alright, so, or if you're playing the organ, a common technique in playing the organ is using chords in both hands. Alright, so those are just some little things that, you know, we do a lot in gospel music. You learn the same type of thing in jazz. So it's just that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into the sixth chord. So how do you make a sixth chord? Really simple stuff. We're going to start basic. Sixth chord, you basically take a major chord and add the sixth note of the scale. So for a C chord, take C, E, G, add A, which is your sixth in the key of C. And in the PDF study guide that goes with this lesson, we have got it in all the inversions in every key. So C6, F6, alright, B flat 6, and we're going to go over this. You can find all this in the PDF study guide. I'm not going to stop and outline each note for you, because I want to keep this video as brief as possible. D flat 6. Alright, I would really recommend going through each one just like I'm kind of doing here, using what we call the circle of fourths, or you could use it as you have it broken down in the PDF study guide. And basically what we did there is we grouped them into different groups, because G6 and C6, they're all, and F6, they're all shaped alike. So we kind of took those and all grouped them together. It makes it easier to remember the chords if you think about them this way. So C6, F6, F6, G6, E flat 6, A flat 6, B flat 6, D6, E6, A6, D flat 6, G flat 6, B6. Tongue twister. But that's basically how we grouped all of those together. And once again, find all that in the PDF study guide. So take a minute and learn all of those inversions in all the keys. It's really important to do that. Really highly recommend it. Because if you don't know the inversions and don't know the chords, you'll have a hard time using them, as we're going to be doing here in just a minute. If you go to the second page in the PDF study guide, which is the basis for this lesson, you'll want to read and look at the exercise songs that we have for the sixth chords. That's a really hard word to say, sixth chords. Alright, so basically the way it works is you're going to see the chord like C6 followed by several different slashes. And those slashes those are basically beat and marks for rhythm. So basically what you're going to do, if you have a C6 followed by 3 slashes, the chord name itself is also a beat. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first exercise song. C 4 times. You're going to go to F 6 4 times. Now what I like to do is jazz it up a little bit, and then it goes to C6, and then back to G6, and back to C6 again. What I like to do is jazz it up a little bit, so right, jazz chorus, right? Real simple stuff. Bum, 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 bum. G6. All right, that's pretty simple stuff. So I'll go ahead and pause the video, go over that exercise song, also go over the inversions in each key for the 6th chords. And it may sound like a really basic chord. You can be like, well, why do you want me to practice that really basic, easy chord that doesn't even necessarily sound that great in my opinion? And just take my word for it. It's a really important chord. You're going to use this. I used to think it was just a chord they used in Southern gospel music, but this is a chord that you use everywhere. I use it all the time when I'm playing, no matter which song I'm playing, just about. It just adds a level of fullness to your playing that is just that is really amazing, no matter what kind of style song you're playing or whatever. All right, we're also going to study about using 6th chords and what I call single walk-ups. And what that basically is you're going down a half step and then back up. Okay, so your walk up to C would be a B. That's why I call it a walk up. You're going from B to C. So use a B6, go up to C6. So now you see why it's important to learn all of the inversions and all the keys. All right, so and that's pretty much how they work. You ever heard an old jazz song and it goes, they end it, those are actually 6th chords. And we'll learn that in a second with the double walk-up. But single walk-ups, let's do the exercise song for that. So alright, so basically what we did, we're just going down a half step and walking back up. Single walk up, and it has a jazzy sound, jazzy flavor to it. So what you can do is actually take these chords, and if you're playing a song, and just spice it up a little bit by sliding up. Guitar players do it all the time. It's just a neat little trick you can do. The double walk up is you're going down 2 chords. So you would do B flat 6 to B6 to C6. So this is the second exercise song. G. Alright, so that's kind of how that chord works in the double walk up. Now we're also going to do what I call a single walk down. And what that basically is, you're going to take a C6, you're going to go up a half step and then walk down. Okay, so C6 to D flat. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the exercise song for the single walk ups. So, and you could, of course, if you want, your ending chord in jazz usually is some kind of C7 chord, but this chord is really cool. We're going to get into this more later. Don't want to get ahead too much, but just kind of give you a peek into the future. The C6 in the right hand combined with a 7th voicing in the left hand, I mean, there's nothing fuller than that, just about. It sounds really cool. But anyways, we'll get more into that in a later lesson as well. But it's a neat little trick you can use. Play the 7th in your left hand, 6 in your right hand. Technically, you're really playing kind of like a 13th type of chord. But anyways, That's a cool way to think about it. Now, as far as using this kind of chord in church, in gospel music, like I said, the rule is that you can substitute it for a major chord pretty much any time. That's the jazz rule. And so, you know, usually in church we like to use other kind of substitutions, suspended twos, you know, major sevenths, major nines. But you can actually use sixth as well. And we're going to show you a song like Can't Nobody Do Me Like Jesus. Typically we're using a nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody. More of a dominant seventh or dominant ninth type chord. But the sixth is actually a really kind of a cool chord too. So can't nobody do me like Jesus. Nobody do me like the Lord. Can't nobody do me like. Then Jesus. If you wanted to use the sixth, go to the sixth chord. And what's cool is your minor six in the key of C is actually the same as a C6, which is your 1, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, and then he's my friend. All right, so can't nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody do me like the Lord. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Then to end it, let's see, he's my friend. Alright, you can do something like that. So, just kind of using these as examples. Obviously, you probably wouldn't play the whole song where you're just walking up sixth, but you could. You know, and you can add that seventh in your left hand to give it even jazzier sound, and you're just really just kind of vamping on the chords. So, a couple of really cool ways you can use that chord, and I apologize if some of these chords here we use in that song are a little too advanced for you. G7 plus 5 plus 9, it's B, E flat, F, B, E flat, F, B flat, with a G in the left hand. Okay, and then F sharp diminished, F sharp, A, C. Alright. Okay, so let's keep going on. Of course, a lot of ways you could play that little thing there at the end. So we're just kind of trying to get you to get the sixth concept, the sixth chord. That's what's important here. Amazing Grace. If you look at the study sheet, of course, Amazing Grace is in 3/4 timing. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What we're going to do is replace all the major and minor, all the major chords in that song with a sixth chord. So that's basically what we do, and we're going to go and play it for you now. So Amazing Grace. Any fills and runs, just letting you hear it with just the chords, just the six. Of course, we're kind of overusing it here, really, but you can see how if you really placed it right, you could really use this chord and give yourself a different sound. So, and we're going to learn about this chord more later too. We basically take the 6 and add the 9 to it. It becomes a 6 add 9 chord. It's a really full sounding chord. chord there. Alright, so that's kind of how the 6th chord works and using it in fast or slow songs. So don't forget to apply this concept to all the songs you know and learn. This is just jazz chord number 1. Be careful, it does not always sound good in certain spots, so you want to be careful where you use it. And of course, like anything else, don't overuse it. So that's the 6. You've got to have the 6 because it's really going to help your playing. It's going to help you, especially when we start getting into some of the cooler stuff here in a little bit. Alright, so of course if you really want to know your stuff, we recommend you practice all those exercise songs in all 12 keys. In the PDF study guide we provided, it actually has each exercise song written in the Roman numerals for you so that you can actually take those, and there's a cheat sheet for the Roman numerals so you can tell what to use. You could go through and learn those all in each key, or over time you can let them kind of incorporate their way into your playing. Just learning the inversions and everything is really going to help you. It's going to basically be the main thing you need, but if you really wanted to, you could take those exercise songs and learn them in different keys. It's definitely not going to hurt you if you got a lot of time to practice and stuff. So alright, jazz chord number 2. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Major 7th chords. Alright, so major 7th chords are the second type of chord we're going to study. And basically in jazz theory, when you're playing a song, there's a basic rule when you come to the major chord, is that you can replace the major chord with a major 7th chord or with a 6th chord. The only thing you have to be careful of is in gospel music, this concept doesn't always work 100%. Even in jazz music, it doesn't work 100% all the time. Especially on the 5 chord. We usually use it more on the 1 and the 4 than we do on the 5 and on the 6 and the 2 and different stuff. Although I've heard songs where they've used it in all of those. So we just have to be careful with it and recognize what key we're in and if we're on the 1 or the 4. So once again, usually we play these kind of chords in our left hand in jazz music, where we're free kind of to do more stuff in our right hand. And of course we're going to be going over some jazz extensions as well. Because our left hand actually will start playing ninths and different things as well as we start getting into the more advanced jazz chords and get past these simple ones here that we're going to be covering in the beginning. Alright, so major 7th. So basically you just take a major chord and add the 7th note of the major scale. That would be a C major 7 right there. In each inversion, we have it provided for you in every key in each inversion in the PDF study guide. And I would go through it in each one of them. And I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you, I would recommend going through these chords in your left hand. Let's say you're an advanced player, you already know how to play these chords in your right hand. I would definitely go through and learn all of these in your left hand. If right hand is easy, even if it's not easy, if you really are wanting to get to a place where you can do really cool things and play jazz music, you really need to have your left hand learn how to play these chords. And that is going to free your right hand up when you're with a band, where you can play a 6th chord and then your right hand's free to kind of jazz up the song and play and stuff. So I really recommend you learning each one of these inversions in your left hand. In fact, maybe even more so than your right hand, because as you learn them in your left hand, especially if you're right-handed like I am, your right hand is automatically almost going to be able to make those chords. Okay, so or if you even wanted to play them in both hands, play all the inversions in both hands. I mean, that's not going to hurt you either. So, make a long story short, definitely a must in the right hand. If you already know it in the right hand, you definitely need to learn and practice in the left hand. Alright, and so we're not going to go through each one of those inversions because it's written for you in the study guide. So you can take a second and go through each one of those. It's got them grouped for you really easily too, where you can remember them more easily. Alright, exercise songs for major 7th chords. Alright, so this first song is C, C, F, F, C, C, G, G. Even though we don't really use it on the 5 chord, we're going to do it just to kind of give you the sound and the feel of it, okay? So we're going to do one, let's see. All right, so there's just a little bit of a flavor thrown in that song for you. So you can kind of see the power of being able to play these in your left hand. And that's why I did that. All right, so that's that first exercise song. Same concepts here. You can use these major sevenths a lot. And you notice in that song I use them interchangeably in my right hand. I was going kind of back and forth because you can use either one. And the cool thing about it is if I was in a major key, that would work. Or if I was even in a minor key. If I was playing, you know, A minor, it's the same chord. So it's all about just, these chords will work over, I mean, this chord is actually an F major 9 as well. You know, it's also a D minor 11. So these chords, these little fills and stuff, and these chords are really powerful to be able, you'll be able to use them for multiple applications. So don't just think of this chord as a 6th chord. Don't just think of this chord as a major 7th chord. Think about this chord as a, instead of a major 7th, it's an A minor 9. Instead of a 6th chord, it's an F major 9. It's an A minor 7. It's a lot of different chords depending on what your bass note is. And so that's why I want you to practice these and learn these concepts, because they're going to really come in handy in the very near future. And you can play the chords in whatever inversions. I'm going to use some other inversions. You can feel free to copy me. So the inversion I'm going to use here is actually, I'm leaving the root note out for the major sevenths. I do that a lot because you could play it like that, but in this exercise song it may sound a little funny if you do it like that. It may be difficult to play because you're going to have to play that double note right there, which is kind of awkward. So I'm going to play it like this, C major 7, alright? So same concept, the single walk up. You see I slid naturally to a dominant 7th there. On your 5, you hardly ever use the, my brain corrected me, you hardly ever use the dominant 7th, or the major 7th on the 5. It's usually this regular 7s. But anyways, we'll get more into that. But that's basically how that practice song there works. That's a single walk up. So you can think about, here's another little trick, you can think about the major 7th as an E minor chord. So, see that? You're basically playing down a half step, and then you're just going a single half step walk down, and going back up. Alright, now we're going to do the double walk up, okay? So, alright, so let's get a nice little tempo here. I wish I'd programmed a different beat in here, but it'll work. Alright, so. That's basically doing a double walk up. Dun, dun, dun. And we're going to add the 9 here in a little bit, but we're just I'm trying to keep it simple here and do it one step at a time. That's important to build a foundation. Alright, then of course you have the single walk down, so F. Exercise song, next one for major sevenths. This was a little different. I kind of brought in some out of the scale chords here just to jazz it up a little bit. right, so you probably have heard a lot of those walk ups and walk downs before in music, and you can use them a lot with these major sevenths. All right, this next one's going to be going over. We're going to basically do C major 7, B flat major 7, A flat major 7. We're basically going to walk down whole steps, which kind of creates a cool sound. Alright, so that's kind of a cool sound. So with these are really cool chords. And you can do a lot with them. A lot of people like to walk up like this. Just for practice. But you can do same thing going backwards. A lot of people like to do them in walking down in flatted thirds as well. So alright, try not to get too crazy here. We're trying to keep it, pretty reasonable, not too easy, but not too difficult at the same time. Alright, the next song, these are just example songs once again, and I'm overusing the chords here just so you can see them in use. This song here is Amazing Grace, again in 3/4 timing, and counting 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then we're going to do This Is the Air I Breathe. Just some basic songs that hopefully you're familiar with and you've heard them, so that you can kind of see and hear these chords in action a little bit more. So let's see, Amazing Grace. We're going to start off with a major 7. How sweet the sound. Let's see. Well, that chord right there, kind of threw the melody on top, but that's not written on there, but you could do it. And then same thing. Alright, so let me start over again. And I'm going to change this first chord to a C6. You hear that little kind of change there? Adds a little bit of a spice to it. Keep it simple. Alright, and you can hear I hit that G7 at the end instead of the G6 like I have written on there, but that's typically what we use on our 5 is the 7. And if you're taking this level course, you probably know these chords by now. If you don't worry about it, because we're going to be going over them just in a few lessons. Alright, this is The Air I Breathe. We've kind of taken this one and kind of kind of threw some different chords in there just to kind of give it a little bit different sound at the beginning instead of just doing the. It actually plays a C sus4 instead of that B flat major 7, but we can do what we want to do. So, all right. So this is The Air I Breathe. 1 2 3 4. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I So that's pretty much it right there. And that's a great example of just some major sevenths in action right there. And if you want to take it to the next level, we have it in the PDF study guide where you can actually go and you can learn all of these, practice all those exercise songs in every key. It's written in the Roman numerals. Once again, if you just practice them in all their inversions, I mean, you should be fine. That's really the most important thing, is learning them all their inversions. It's definitely going to hurt you to go through all your keys and learn and play these exercise songs, or at least go through some of them. Maybe not in one sitting, but maybe over some time. So anyways, hope this has been helpful for you. Once again, go through and learn these inversions and try to do them with both hands. It's really going to help you down the road. And that's pretty much it for this lesson. So lesson 1, AP 7-1 Gospel Jazz Chords is a wrap. God bless.